Rabbi Akiva is also known for the famous Gemara where the whole source of Kol Ma'adur Av Rachman Letav Avid comes from is the Gemara Maseches Brachos Daf Samach, where the Gemara describes that Rabbi Akiva is traveling and he's looking for an inn, a place to sleep, and the inn that he finds is all rooms are booked. He has no lodging there. He decides to sleep outside. All he has with him is a candle, a chicken, and a chamor, a donkey. And the Gemara describes that a wind blows out his candle, a cat comes along and consumes the chicken, a lion comes and consumes the chamor. He has nothing left. He's out with nothing. And Rabbi Akiva's response is, Kol Ma'adur Avid Rachman Letav Avid, it's all for the best. And indeed, the end of the story is, bandits had come to that inn, had killed people, stolen everyone's property, and because Rabbi Akiva was not there, because Rabbi Akiva had nothing with him, so that's what spared his life. Again, seeing that silver lining. The Gemara, famous Gemara Maseches Makos, the end of the Masechet, short Masechet, where everyone makes that siyum, that the Talmidim, the Chachamim, were by the Harabayis, and they see a shual, the Makam Churbana, that the Churban Beis HaMikdash, they see a fox walking around the Kodesh Kadashim. They cry. Rabbi Akiva laughs. Why are you crying? How can we not cry? The Beis HaMikdash is destroyed. There are animals that are just traipsing across Kodesh Kadashim. Rabbi Akiva sees the silver lining. He sees that, yes, well, if the nevuah of the destruction was fulfilled, and the nevuah of the rebuilding will also be fulfilled. This is echoed in so many different Gemaras. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, Daf Kuf Aleph and Aleph, a beautiful, beautiful Gemara, says that Rabbi Eliezer was very sick on his deathbed, and the Talmidim came to see him. And they tried to lift up his spirits, and the Talmidim were distraught. Their Rebbe was dying. They were crying. Rabbi Akiva was misachek. He was once again laughing. Rabbi Akiva said, the Talmidim asked Rabbi Akiva, why are you laughing? Why are you crying? We're crying. Our Rebbe, the source of so much Torah, the light that illuminates the world, is dying. We shouldn't cry. And Rabbi Akiva's response is that I was so worried because Rabbi Elazar is dying now. He had such a good life. I never saw his she'ein yeno machmitz, his wine never fermented. His property never got destroyed. His oils were always good. His honey was always sweet. His clothing was always beautiful. I was worried maybe he got all of his reward in this world. Shemachas v'sham kibel Rebbe olamo, in this world. And now that I see he's b'tsa'ar, ani sameach, I'm happy because I know that his reward is really waiting for him in the world to come. Gemara after Gemara after Gemara, Rabbi Akiva is that paragon of looking at everything in that positive light, understanding the Yisurin, the Tsar. That's Rabbi Akiva in that same Gemara, Kuf Aleph Medal, says, Chaviv in Yisurin, even seeing the good in the Yisurin. That is the message of Rabbi Akiva, and that indeed is the message, the deeper message of Matchil B'Gnus Mesayim B'Shvach. You know why? The Gemara Sota says that when it comes to the Gnus, you say so B'Kol Ram, you say so in a loud voice. Because understand, the Gnus is also positive. And that's really a core, fundamental message of Yitzias Mitzrayim. You have to look at things in a panoramic view. If you look at things snapshot, very limited, very local, sure, you're going to have a lot of bad times. But the message is to look at things with that sense of breadth. Look at Jewish history. You look at Jewish history and you could certainly say persecution after persecution. That's the story of Jewish history. A downtrodden people, but with a certain sense of vision, a broad view. And this is what Rav teaches us. This is what Shmuel teaches us. Is that mitchila ov the avodah zarah hayu avoseinu, and now we go ahead and Kiravnu lamakom lavodaso. Hashem brings us to His avodah. We were avodim in Mitzrayim. You stop there. You look at that snapshot. Very, very depressing. But you understand that no, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's all there for a purpose, and that's the message of Bechol Dor Vador. Every generation, Om Dim Aleinu L'Chaloseinu. We have enemies that try and destroy us. There's the moror of our life. There's the struggles that we always have, but it's there with a purpose. It's there with a vision, with a message. I always like to share over the following idea. I say it over usually Rosh Hashanah time, but we'll bring it back for Chag HaPesach. The Gemara, the Chumash tells us in Parshas Vayera, we read about the Akedah Yitzchak. And as part of the Kriyas HaTorah Akedas Yitzchak, we hear about exactly what happens, the challenge of sacrificing one's own son, and ultimately his being pulled off of the Mizbeach. And then at the end of that parsha, we read it on Rosh Hashanah. And at the end of Parshas Vayera, we're told, Vayhi acharei hadvarim ha'eleh. After all this transpires, after the Akedah, Avram is told that Yolda Milka Gamhu Banim Lenachor Achicha. Avram has a brother Nachor, and his wife Milka also had some children. And the pasuk goes through those children: Utz and Buz and Kemuel and Keshet and Chazal, Pildash, Yidlaf, Besuel. Wow, 8 sons. And then Nachor also had a Pilegesh, whose name was Re'uma, and she had sons: Tevach, Gacham, Tachash, and Macha. End of the parsha. Why the juxtaposition of the sons of Nachor to Akedas Yitzchak? Who cares? How many of these names will we ever find again? Yeah, one. Besuel, the father of Rivka. Maybe that's why we're told. But perhaps it's a deeper idea. Notice, Nachor had a wife and 8 sons with that wife and a Pilegesh. And he had 4 sons with the Pilegesh. Sound familiar? 12 sons. 8 from wives and 4 from maidservants. Pilakshim. Yaakov Avinu had 12 sons. 8 from wives and 4 from maidservants. Must be something deeper, some connection. So you look at this story of Nachor and his kids, one after another. 12 sons, 8 sons, 4 from Pilakshim, one after another. It's easy, comes easy. Look at how Klal Yisrael was formed. Every single one of the Imahos was an Akara. Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel, at different times in their lives. The amount of difficulty, sweat and tears, trials and tribulations that were necessary to create the Shiftei Ka was profound. The Akedah, the sacrifice that goes into generating and producing Klal Yisrael is so profound, is so deep, is so challenging. But that, if it's challenging, if it's hard, if it's with sweat, if it's with toil, even if it's with Yisurin, it lasts. When it comes to Bnei Nachor, how many of those names do we remember? They're relegated to the dustbins of history. Easy come, easy go. No pain, no gain. Lefum tzara abra. If there's no tsar, there's no reward. That's the message of this juxtaposition. The Akedah is juxtaposed to the Bnei Nachor to tell us, if it's with sacrifice, if it's with trial, tribulation, then it's going to last. It's going to be there for duration. It's going to have that sense of vitality, of destiny. If it's easy come, it's going to be easy go. That's the juxtaposition. You look at even the Holocaust, Rahman al-Islam, terrible, terrible period of Jewish history. But then, again, we can't really understand, and we don't understand. And the Tzarech Ein is still a great Tzarech Ein. But you look at what we've come to 70 years later, what's emerged in Medinat Yisrael, the development of Klal Yisrael since that time. It's dramatic. It's the Matchil B'Gnus, and it's the Messiah B'Shvach, to understand, not just to appreciate the Shvach that emerges, but to understand even that there's a purpose in the Gnus, and to go ahead and say the Gnus B'Kol Ram. We'll close with the following idea that I believe I saw from Rabbi Jonathan Sachs in his Haggadah. We point out there's a lot of 4s in the Seder Arba Banim, Arba Kosos, Arba Lashonos of Geula, the 4 Kashas of the Manishtana. There are 4 psukim in the Arami Ovid Avi that we are Doresh at the Leil HaSeder. 4, a lot of 4s. But when you think about it, Rabbi Sachs points out there's actually a hidden 5 in each of these instances. There are 4 psukim of Arami Ovid Avi, and there's one that we don't darshan. That pasuk begins, Vayivienu Hashem el hamakom hazeh. Hashem brings us to this place. There's the 5th lashon of Geula, Vayivienu. You look at the Rambam in his Haggadah, in his Sefer in the Mishnah Torah. The Rambam doesn't have 4 questions of Manishtana. He has a 5th question. The 5th one is, why on this night do we, as part of the Korban Pesach, only roasted and not cooked? There's a 5th question. There's a 5th lashon of Geula, Vehevesi, which you don't emphasize. The Lubavitcher Rebbe pointed out that connected Arba Banim Dibra Torah, there are 4 sons that are at our table. Chacham the Rasha, the Tam that Sheni Yod Elishol. And he says that, there's that hidden 5th son who doesn't even make it to the table. He didn't even make it to the table. You have a lot of 5s. There's even, of course, a 5th kos. There's the kos shel Eliyahu that we don't drink, but is there. And perhaps there's a deep message over here as well, and that is that sense of there's something missing. Our Seder has all these 4s, but there's that last piece that we kind of are waiting to be fulfilled, that 5th kos, that kos shel Eliyahu. And when we go ahead and have that 5th son who also comes to that table, that last lashon of Geula, vehevesi, v'vienu, that last pasuk of the Aram Yovidav, v'vienu al hamakom hazeh, that we go ahead and have that ultimate Geula. That's what we anticipate with such greatness. That's what we're looking for. That's what this Seder is supposed to bring us to, is that you fully appreciate, and it's no coincidence, I'll close, that we end the Seder. Many have a minute to say Shir HaShirim at the end of the Seder. And that really, that connection that we're supposed to develop, we understand our relationship with Hashem is developed in such a profound way, not just that He took us out, but to have that real cognizance, appreciation of even the Gnus, that we become one, Shir HaShirim, like Ish v'Isha with the Ribbon Shalom at the end of the Seder experience. We have that sense of clarity, and with that sense of clarity, with that understanding that even the Gnus has a real purpose, is Latav Avid, then will be Zochet to really have that 5th kos, that kos of Vivienu Al HaMakom Hazeh, that kos shel Eliyahu, that will be the harbinger of Mashiach Tzidkenu B'mheira V'yameinu.